Marley with the History Bards podcast. We have the great privilege of welcoming Samantha Wilcoxson to the show today, and we're excited to talk to her and her book and talk to her about her books. And just to give you all the listeners out there, a little brief introduction. Samantha is an author of emotive biographical fiction and strives to help readers connect with history's unsung heroes, which is great because we really want to know about those. She also writes nonfiction for Pen and Sword History, and she loves sharing trips to historic places with her family and spending time by the lake with a glass of wine. Well, don't we all? We love that. Her most recent work is Women of the American Revolution, which explores the lives of 18th century women, and she is currently working on a biography of James Alexander Hamilton. Oh, that's awesome. So, Samantha, we are so glad for you to be on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited about it.
Great. Well, I know I kind of gave a little bio to everybody about you, but can you kind of tell us a little bit more about your journey as a writer and what led you to becoming a historical fiction author?
Sure. It kind of started very accidentally, actually. I have an accounting degree, so it's not what I went to school for.
Okay.
But very shortly after college, I was actually staying home with my kids instead. And so it was when they got to be, that age where we start looking for something for ourselves again.
Yeah.
And I had always been a voracious reader, always loved history. My kids will tell you they grew up hearing me say history is fun and then bombarding them with some fact I had read. So anyway, so about 10 years ago, my husband said, why don't you try writing a book? And it had actually never even crossed my mind to try writing my own book.
Oh,
And
wow.
so when he suggested it, I did. And here we are 10 years later. I have 5 novels out and soon my second nonfiction book. So sometimes you just need a push in the right direction.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So let me ask you this. What led you to this particular era?
Well, my writing doesn't really all take place in the same era.
Okay.
So most of all of my early books, the majority of them are kind of in the Wars of the Roses, the early Tudor era.
Yes,
But then
yes.
my more recent books are, excuse me, are in U.S. history, and I have American Revolution, but then also a novel about the Radium Girls. And that takes place between the World Wars.
So you kind of have like a span of different eras and interests and everything. Was there a specific reason or just because you like those eras?
Yeah, I just kind of am a wanderer, I guess, both
Yeah.
traveling and in my writing, because when a story strikes me, I kind of grab it and run with it.
No, I completely understand that. I think a lot of us do that. I know some authors who just like stick to one era, but I'm so with you on that. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
So, about your recent book, can you tell us a little bit about it and the premise behind it?
So my most recent novel is actually about Nathan Hale, who maybe not everyone will remember his name, but while I was writing Women of the American Revolution, which that one is nonfiction and kind of a series of mini biographies, each chapter is about a different woman. I kept coming across the name Nathan Hale, which if you're an American, probably what you know about him is that he's famous for supposedly saying before he was executed by the British for being a very bad spy, that he said something to the effect of, my only regret is that I have but one life to give for my country.
Yeah.
And so that's the name of the book, is But One Life. And I wanted to kind of dig into, who was this guy and why was he
Yeah.
willing to make this sacrifice? He was only 21 years old when he was executed. So I don't know, I kind of started wondering what was his background, and I wanted to learn more about him. And, as you said in my bio, kind of uh, shine some light on this unsung hero.
Yeah.
So that's what that one is about. And then what I'm working on now is sort of related. It ends up being a little later, the biography of James Hamilton. He is
Uh-huh.
one of Alexander Hamilton's sons. That's what
Yes.
everyone always asks. And yes, he is. But he lived through, this whole era of American history
Mhm.
after the American Revolution. So
Right.
through his life, it's a really great way to explore America's early history and the creating of the government and all the way through the Civil War. So he lived a really interesting life through a turbulent era.
Oh, that's really, really interesting. So I have to kind of backtrack a little bit because we talked about you writing about unsung heroes. Did you do the same thing with your Tudor novels?
So I think so. I didn't write about the people that most Tudor era
Yeah,
books are about.
that's the
The
reason why I
first
asked that.
yeah, the first one is about Elizabeth of York, and that to this day is still my most popular novel, is the one about Elizabeth of
Of
York.
course.
And then yeah, the second one is about her cousin, Margaret Pole. And then the third one is about Queen Mary, who most people don't write sympathetically about Queen Mary. So I wanted to look at things from her point of view.
Right. Well, that's really, really fascinating. So let me ask you this, in all of your research that you've done throughout, whether it was with the Tudor novels or with the American history, have you found anything that's really obscure in history that maybe, I know you talked about Nathan Hale, a lot of people don't know a lot about his history and everything, but was there anything that just really struck you that I've got to add this into the novel?
Well, I don't know about, I do always find little things that I want to add into my novels for sure. Like, so in the Nathan Hale novel, it's the fact that he was really good friends with Benjamin Talmadge, who, if anyone has watched the show Turn, that his name is familiar. He was
Yeah.
the spy master for George Washington. And one of the reasons he was so devoted to making that successful Culper spy ring is because one of his best friends, Nathan Hale, had been executed as a spy so early in the war. So that was really fun to build their friendship, and
Yeah.
at the end kind of show that that was in the aftermath, that that was what he did.
Right. And so you seem to like have captured like two eras that are really, really popular in entertainment nowadays because of those shows like Turn and the Tudors and everybody's always so fascinated with the Tudor era for some for some reason. It
Yes.
seems to be like a continuous flow of books on that era.
Yeah.
That and World War II. I think there's just a ton of historicals on World War II.
Yeah,
So
very true.
yeah. So let me ask you this. In addition to this book that's out now, do you have anything new coming up or you got anything planned?
Well, so the James Hamilton one is kind of, that's in process now. It's with
Okay,
Sword, so working on edits and all that, hoping to see that by January of next year.
great.
And so I'm sort of in that mushy middle area right now, where I'm
Yeah.
trying to decide what I want to do next. I have a couple things that I'm sort of researching and haven't decided. I am really bad. Like, some people have their next 5 books planned, and I'm really bad about, I get done with something and I go, now what do I want to do? So
Yeah.
I'm actually researching a couple of different ideas, and I don't even want to say what either of them
No,
are,
no, no.
because
Yeah,
there
don't,
there's
no
always a chance that I won't do either one of them. So
right, no spoilers because we're all anticipating what you're coming up with next. I know your fans are too. Um,
I hope so.
yeah. So do you have any events planned around the this book or the Hamilton book?
So I try to have some events planned. Not as far out as when the James Hamilton book is coming out yet,
Okay.
but I have a few for people who are local. Kind of, I'm in the Southwest Michigan area.
Uh-huh.
On my website, I do always have my next events on there.
Okay.
Actually, in a couple weeks, I'm in Durand, Michigan, and then I have one in Goshen, Indiana,
Hmm.
near the end of April. So, and then I have a couple more after that. So yeah, anyone who's interested in an event, I love definitely meeting readers.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I keep that list updated on my website, which is just samanthawilcoxson.com.
Okay. And we'll make sure that we'll post that link. And so that any of our listeners and they're in the area that they can come out and meet you and get a signed book. I think that's great.
Yeah, that would
And
be
then
great.
we'll keep all our listeners updated about what's coming up new for you in the future as well. So one
Fantastic.
last question I would love to know is a lot of we get a lot of this question a lot from authors a lot about marketing. So how do you feel about marketing and what are the challenges you feel like or the advice that you could give to other authors?
Yeah, I agree. Marketing is a huge challenge. And I still find, kind of at the beginning of every year, I don't know if you'd call it a New Year's resolution, but I kind of try to look at what I'm doing at the beginning of every year, and, see if there's something different I should be doing, or, to sort of reevaluate where I'm at, get some events
Yeah.
planned. Um, It is challenging, and I think just continuing to connect with readers and other
Oh, yeah.
authors, whether that's through, Goodreads or other social media, whatever works for you. I don't try to be on everything because it's just exhausting.
Exhausting,
But for
yes.
me, like Facebook, Goodreads, Instagram, I love trying to connect with people on there. And of course there's paid advertising you can do too, but I think that just that personal networking is priceless.
It is priceless, and I'm glad you said that because I think that's one of the keys is if authors can connect with readers. And it's like, because readers want to engage with the author. It's not just about the book, it's about the connection that they have with the author. Because once
Yeah.
they get to know you and they're like, wow, maybe she has something to say,
Yeah.
and then they'll want to keep up with you and keep up with your books. I think that's an excellent advice for anybody. Content and connection is the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Samantha, thank you so much for being on the show today. We really do appreciate it. And we will, like I said, we will have these links up on whenever we post this next Tuesday. And it'll be either Tuesday or Wednesday that we'll post it on our YouTube channel. And I'll be sure and send you the link so that you can share it. And
Yeah,
once
great.
again, thank you so much for being here.
All right. Yeah, thanks so much.
All right. And to all of our listeners out there who listen today, thank you again for continuing to watch the podcast. Please hit that subscribe button. And as always, keep making history and keep listening.